Hello everyone, Neonstar here, and Five Nights at Freddy's is turning 9 years old. FNAF has existed as long as I've been on the internet, which is just weird to think about. FNAF has influenced a big chunk of my life, so as an anniversary celebration, I'm gonna talk about it, even though this is set to go up like 2 weeks after the anniversary. Oops. For the two of you who don't know what FNAF is, Five Nights at Freddy's is an indie horror game released in August 2014. The main goal is to keep 4 animatronics from killing you, using only your camera system and closing the doors. You can't run away, you can only move your vision from side to side, which was pretty unheard of for horror games. In games like Slender Man, you can run away, and in games like Resident Evil, you have weapons to defend yourself. But in FNAF, you have neither, and people were really drawn to that. They were also drawn to the mystery of it. Creepy Easter eggs and hidden lore made people go nuts trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. There are a ton of video essays about FNAF who explain this better than I can. I first found out about FNAF through my sister. She came up to me and explained the concept. We then watched PewDiePie play through the game, and I was both fascinated and terrified. I was 10 years old, so cut me some slack. Also, when he saw Foxy running down the hall for the first time, I remember it as Bonnie running down the hall, with Felix shouting, "Rudolph, no!" It's weird because Bonnie only runs in the trailer, but I hadn't seen the trailer. I only found out about the game like 30 minutes before. I also misremembered the title screen being a Freddy head on an exoskeleton. Mandela effect aside, I also remember being disappointed that he didn't finish the game. While I had been fascinated, I hadn't been hooked yet, but that was about to change. As some background, we didn't have Wi-Fi. Our only internet access was the data our parents' phones had. So the only things on the internet I ever saw was what my sister would show me on Dad's old Android phone, or on the library computer. Then in August 2014, we got a laptop. It was a Dell laptop that would crash often, but it was amazing. I spent so much time on it. And since I was starting to explore the internet in late 2014, my obsession with FNAF only grew. Fan art, let's plays, theories, it all kept me hooked. I listened to the FNAF song by Living Tombstone so much that Google Play Music wouldn't let me listen to it again without paying for it. My sister listened to all kinds of music and they never locked her out, so I don't know what happened there. Then the best thing possible happened. The FNAF 2 teasers came out. This is by far my most nostalgic time being a part of this fandom. This is when I really hyperfixated. I stopped being afraid and I was so in love with this franchise. My sister and I watched the trailer together, and I downloaded so much fan art, mostly about Withered Bonnie. I remember that one day, when Dee was walking me home from school, this kid in my class was telling me about the new PewDiePie video. He told me about the FNAF game he played with toy animatronics. I told him it was probably a fan game and brushed him off. Anyway, when we got home, Dee showed me that Felix played FNAF 2. This is when I started watching Markiplier's FNAF videos. I'm pretty sure I watched his other videos before, but I definitely loved binging his FNAF 1 and 2 videos. I also watched Game Theory's FNAF 2 videos. I watched him before FNAF came out though. Dee and I watched the FNAF 3 trailer together, and I watched Mark's videos as they came out. Slowly finding out who Springtrap really was the biggest twist I had ever experienced. I was really enraptured by Springtrap and his design. The last thing I ever searched up on my tablet before my brother broke it was just Springtrap. I also think the good end puzzles were really cool, especially the wall puzzle. 395248 has been seared into my brain forever, and I still remember the choked up feeling I felt when Mark said that FNAF 3 was going to be the end. FNAF had been the sole focus of my attention for 7 to 8 months. And then the FNAF 4 teaser dropped. Before I talk about that though, let's talk about school. I was in the 5th grade at the time, and I talked about FNAF excessively. No one else in my class was really into it though. When I first started talking about it, everyone would respond, "I haven't watched that movie." I was always annoyed by that response. I did get some kids somewhat into FNAF though. Amber even lied to me about the animatronics living with her. At this time, I also firmly believed in that one fake edit of the real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. My sister broke the news to me when we were watching The Simpsons. In Bart Sells His Soul, Moe turns his bar into a family diner, and I talked to my sister about wanting to go to Freddy's. I still remember the soul-crushing disappointment that Freddy's wasn't real. Maybe one day. I used to play this Dragon game on my tablet, before it was broken. It had this in-game forum, and this is when I was told about the FNAF 4 trailer. I told my sister, and she was annoyed that I broke our tradition of watching the trailers together. FNAF 4 is by far my favorite FNAF game. It's the one that I'm still scared of playing, and it's the only one I jumped to years later. And the Halloween update was just so When I was first getting into the fandom, I had been very disappointed in the lack of FNAF merch. So maybe that's why I'm so lenient with the merch quality. I got the Just Toys Freddy keychain and the plush keychain for Christmas 2016. I even got a Balloon Boy dog tag necklace. I was bummed that I got BB, but it was cool knowing he was rare. For my birthday in 2017, I asked for a Jumbo Freddy plush, but I got a Jumbo Foxy plush instead. I still love it though. I also got 2 of the Just Toys posters. In between these, I got a Nightmare Freddy plush and these Funko Pops. On Christmas of 2019, I asked my dad to look out for the Nightmare Bonnie plush, which is very rare, since it was a Toys R Us exclusive. I ended up getting the classic bootleg though. I also got this glow-in-the-dark Freddy shirt from Hot Topic. I'm wearing it right now. And on my last birthday, my sister got me a Sanshi Chica plush. Every time I see her, I break out into a smile. There was a year-long gap in releases, and I had pivoted to Undertale in 6th grade. On a side note, I already wrote out a whole script for an Undertale video, so stay tuned for next month. Then in the beginning of 7th grade, Sister Location was announced. I didn't hyperfixate nearly as strongly, but I love Sister Location so much. Then it was late 2017, and I was living in the hotel room. This was when I decided to watch through all the Game Theory FNAF videos. I used to only watch the ones that my sister had recommended, but I wanted to see them all, so I watched through all the theories on a sick day. Not long after, Pizzeria Sim was released. I had seen MatPat stream it in my sub box, but I didn't believe that FNAF 6 had really come out. I only found out when Mark played it. I still remember eating Little Debbie's Star Crunch while watching his livestream over and over. All the Pizza Sim content really helped carry me in that depressing time. And when Ultimate Custom Night released the next summer, I felt grief that the era of FNAF games was finally over. FNAF VR was the beginning of a new era of FNAF games. I don't have much to say about it, but I desperately want to play it. A year before Security Breach came out, I hyperfixated again. I made a playlist of every FNAF trailer, Markiplier, and Game Theory video, and I used it to binge watch the whole series. When I hyperfixated, I wrote a whole Google Doc taking notes on what happened in every video in that playlist. I also made a huge Google Doc on every Funko Pop, plush, action figure, and blind box mini. I moved on only to hyperfixate again when Security Breach released a year later. I'm going to be transparent and admit that I love Security Breach. Don't get me wrong, the game is a mess. It was rushed and the game suffered greatly. And every bit of info we get about what the game was supposed to be makes me really sad that we didn't get what we could have. However, I still love Security Breach. It's like my dream game as a child. I was the kid who wrote fanfic about befriending the animatronics from FNAF 1. And the Pizzaplex is like a wonderland from my wildest dreams. I know that people are bitter that the game is more appealing to kids and not as scary, and I know I am too, but the kid in me foams at the mouth whenever I think about Security Breach. This was the game that really got me into FNAF fanfic. Glamrock Freddy is my dad, and I love reading about him and Gregory just being happy. Each animatronic is bursting with personality, and I love them all. I forgot to mention FNAF AR! In short, I love the idea of special delivery, but none of my devices were compatible, so I never got to play it. I was born near Easter, so Chocolate Bonnie and Easter Bonnie are so precious to me. And while I love FNAF World from what I've seen, since Mark never played it, I didn't get into it until I saw challenge runs. After Security Breach was released, I also drew every animatronic. I'll let them scroll by right now. Let me know what you think of them. I love drawing them as cute, though I also love drawing them as realistic as I can. I want to make a video where I draw all the animatronics realistically, but I don't know when that'll be. Like 2 weeks before the filming of the FNAF movie started, I randomly started hyperfixating again. I'm still fixated on it right now, as a matter of fact. Or when I'm writing this script, I'm fixated. And it's been a great time to care again. Filming started on the movie, MatPat is releasing his full FNAF timeline, Faf9 released his 3-hour video essay like a week ago. Every day I scroll through Reddit, Tumblr, and Twitter for fan art, and I've been studying art using the FNAF characters. A big factor of me being into FNAF right now is Michael Afton. I love Fan and Mike, and I love it when he's written as Gregory's dad. I wish he was my dad. Don't look at me like that! Life sucks, so I'm maladaptive daydreaming about FNAF. I mentioned that my sister got me a Chica plush for my birthday. I also got a wireless mouse, and I got my dad to buy me FNAF 1. I was so excited. Then I beat the game in 3.7 hours. Guess that's on me for watching all those guides and AI explanations. Still, I had fun, and this is the stats of jump scares I got. As I'm writing this, I haven't played the other games, or read any of the books, except for the first Freddy files. I have trouble reading PDFs, and I don't really like audiobooks. I did play the FNAF 2 and 3 demos on mobile, but I hated that they ended so soon. I also couldn't play the FNAF 4 demo because I was too scared. Alright, so I wrote the script in March, but it's June now, so I have some updates. When the FNAF movie trailer dropped, I nearly screamed. I'm so excited. Then the Ruin DLC trailer and Help Wanted 2 trailer dropped within a week. Ruin's set to release in July, so by the time this goes out, Ruin will have been out. Hopefully it's good. I'll probably like it either way. FNAF has been a part of my life throughout my most formative years. It brings me so much joy and creative inspiration. When I was in high school, I considered going into robotics to work on animatronics, but I gave up on that because I care more about art and biology. Still, FNAF almost influenced what career I wanted. FNAF means so much to me. It's been a wonderful 9 years. Thank you, Scott, for the series that influenced me into who I am now. Here's to another 9 years of fantasy and fun. Bye!